It is September 7th, 2021. Tonight brings up a good point for me on this number being alphanumeric 63145211324, attached to a man born in 1975 named Anthony Tiafrio. He is not an ambassador of mine. He does not have permission to speak on my behalf. He's a piece of shit American and is to be treated like an enemy of the state. Period. Same thing with Lewis, and same thing with Jason Peter Romer. I do not have ties or affiliations to any of the three of them. I do not stand for them. I do not speak on their behalf. I speak on my own behalf, and I never agree with them because not one of them has gotten a single part of my life right. And they've been misled sorely for years. There's something wrong between Temple Mount and the pineal gland. There is a problem. So they do not have medical or quantifiable. I'm like, I even told Lewis tonight, he read me some stupid ass thing that he wrote on the quantum realm, and I was like, I had to make him stop at the dinner table in front of Tiafrio. I'm like, stop, just stop. I was like, it is like taking me to the bathroom with you and making me stand next to you as you, like, defecate. I was like, it is so disgusting to listen to you try to explain in your human nothingness. I was like, the physics, Lou, it's the outside realm, it's the inside realm of the body mechanics, it's how it interacts together in a positive feedback system. And if there's a break in the positive feedback system, there's a negative feedback created. Then that means that there's something diagnostically between whatever. He's just like, then he doesn't believe me. He says something really shitty. And I said to my mother, I'm like, you know what it's like to be your daughter? It is like having an executive producer somewhere else writing my manuscript and sending it via antenna wire through Temple Mount into the pineal gland of Lou and Lynn, and it never working out correct for me. So it's like you're always fucking with me. I was like, and I hate you both. And so, so that was that. Then I go to call my son into dinner, and Anthony Tiafrio, 1975, is on some Skype or whatever program with some human with like a Caribbean blue background, and he's having a conversation. Then he wants to call my son in. So I called my son to the table, mon petit ami, and we were eating, and then Anthony calls him out to go onto this Skype phone call with these people that I don't know. I asked Tiafrio, I'm like, who is that exactly that he's speaking? He's like, it's a counselor, don't worry about it. I was like, a counselor from where, Anthony? And I am worried about it. So now on this phone number, I want that number chased by something in the law enforcement category, and I want them to go pursue justice in whatever country keeps calling and keeps paying for this jackass to, or in like making him stay in my fucking life. My son is not his property. My son is not his. My son is mine. I never confirmed that he was the father, ever. And that's it. He is not an ambassador. He does not have permission to speak on my behalf. He's a dumb, fucking useless human where the interconnection between Temple Mount and the pineal gland is not working in actual quasi-physics and physics. So Lou was going through the whole gamut on Google of what physics is, and I'm like, listen, I use quantitative and qualitative data analysis that I pull out of the real environment with real examples, Lou, and then I thread it together in not a theoretical, but like I mean, like, again, I don't even know which word to really use because it's theoretical. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of theories, and then you string them together through quantum, and then you have your actuality and your documented evidence. So I don't really know, Lou. Like, I'm not conspiracy theorist. Like, there is a problem with my birth and the two of you, and now Tia Frio and Romer before that. Like, in facts, and it's been documented, and people knew about it. So I was just walking the boulevard again, and I said to several people, I stopped with my umbrella, and I said, I was like, so if I was going, like, living environment, right? I was like, if I had to give a diagnosis to my living environment since I'm a resident here, see these black spots? I was like, I would consider that like a chicken pox of the sidewalk. However that might exist in whatever, that's my diagnostic on I'm not walking on healthy ground at the moment. And so they were like, that's interesting. Yeah, it is interesting. It's also something that's much needed and could have been done before I arrived in this moment. So my diagnostics for my living environment for national weather pattern of I can only possibly be one nation. And it's not of any of the people who have taken action or charge against me in order to shut me up or in order to hurt me and to stick me with Tia Frio and the fucking shitbag Romer with hydrocephaly. Just isn't. So now here we are. And how do I go from here and where do I go from here? There's only one possible man that I was supposed to be married with, and in order to get to this disgusting moment in time and space where everything is off the charts, you had to have ripped time and space apart even further in order to further other motions of less than essential equipment. I mean, at this point, it's so disgusting. It's got to be like somewhat important people who have like hairdressers and nail people and fashion coordinators. And now all of a sudden, like those people are having opinions and whatever counted. For what? For what purpose? There's no purpose that, I mean, like all of the network is not working in the local area. So now, I was thinking about this. So I saw, and I told Lynn and I told Lou that I saw a CI that I usually use and report to. I don't know his name. Part of the confidential informant. I'm confidentially informing him so he can like yell out to his chain of command and run it up the flagpole, however he does that. He's an EMS worker. I confirmed that tonight, but he has one of those vest things on, and he doesn't ride in an ambulance, so I respect him. And he has a bulletproof vest on, which I thought was like a little, I don't know, it seemed dangerous. I'm like, yeah, EMS, well, emergency management, I guess. So anyway, so I showed him the 2 pins from Episcopalian St. John's Day. I asked him if it was okay if I could hand him this through the window, because his window was open and I was on the passenger side. So I put it through the window so he could see in the plastic baggie, and I told him the story, and then I put it away. And before that, I had stood on his driver's side to say about the living environment part, and ask if he ever got out of the truck and walked the streets, if he ever noticed that there's black marks. It kind of looks like chickenpox kind of a thing. He said, no, you hadn't. I said, all right. I was like, well, I walk, as you see, all the time. I was like, and also part of the living environment, my biology working within this environment, like the myelin strands of like my electrolytes, like the lighting up of my myelin strands seems to be interfered or affected somehow by whatever's going on that's causing, just for lack of a better term, use chickenpox on the sidewalk. And I was like, and it's causing, when I lived out in Patchogue, I didn't have this quite as bad, but I mean, it's gotten extremely worse since I moved to this particular town, being Bayside Station. And Right. And so he was like, So I noticed, I said, what kind of truck is this? I said, I know, again, I reported to NYPD. He's a uniformed officer. This living environment weather pattern thing. Excuse me. I was like, and I reported it to your FDNY, but through the engine house, which again, I really don't know. I guess it depends on the doorman if they're interested or their involvement. Again, I don't get feedback. So I was like, but I know you were EMS, and that's kind of important in emergency management since you have like weather stuff and environmental stuff. So I was like, what do you suggest? Is there like a national weather number, or do you think it should just stick with talking to NYPD and social media and your guy at the engine company? I mean, like, what do I do? And he's like, yeah, I think that'll work. And I'm like, all right. So, I mean, like, again, he's the professional. I really don't know. He was wearing a blue shirt, by the way. Blue shirt and vest. Not police vest, but special vest to protect him. And then in the back of the truck, it had a cross, like a runway cross, if you're a pilot, and it had a D4 on it. That I know is important for whatever, and I really don't know how all of your squadron, section, battalion, and what any of that really means in actuality, because I don't have like a word tree. Let's just put it that way. So that happened. Star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. And I am with September 7th, 2021 for a date. Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, and the galaxy is broken. Oh, yesterday I mentioned that something's eating planets, and lo and behold, Lou tells me, I don't know if it's in any correlation or relation, he tells me directly tonight at dinner in front of everybody that that one of he has a fish pond in the back, that the plant was missing, PLANT. And so he was like, I don't know, raccoon, whatever. And I'm like, what about a person? He's like, no. My mom's like, no, the light would have went off. And I'm like, you really don't know where you live, do you, Lynn? I was like, I mean, not like I'm not calling and approving of it, but there are some people in the world that like gymnastics, aerobatic, like challenges of like sneaking in and sneaking out without being seen or heard from and moving stuff. I was like, I mean, like that's, I was mentioning that planets were getting eaten yesterday, and look what a message they sent you. I was like, in the mania, MANIA, of Ro. Oh, wait, is that Romania? If I put it the other way, that's what it sounds like phonetically, I'm just saying. So, and my father started laughing. And I'm just like, he's like, no. He's like, but how would they get into that tight space? It couldn't be a raccoon. And I was just like, yeah, I don't know. But watching you try to figure it out and us never getting a real answer is just quite comical. Because I know someone knows somewhere, just never can figure out who and what in like the day-to-day front-facing operation. Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. Oh, and tenant upstairs, turns out he works at something 59th and 5th. I don't know what that is because I don't know Manhattan at all. But he gave Lou a bottle of wine. They were talking about it tonight, giving really nice compliments. I was like, okay. And I was like, sounds nice. And then, but the other day, when the gentleman, Miguel, mentioned that in Spanish they have 3 extra letters, and the double L being one, I mentioned to him, Lynn and Lou, they're my double L, for why language was created, and some of you got an extra whatever in your language for characters. So did I, apparently. He called me Canada. So I was like, no, that's interesting. I've never been called Russia, yeah, Canada, I'm not. But again, I think that's a compliment, because I think something's going on at Brit level. I saw something today. I'm like, like they had this thing like, the British are coming, the British are coming, right? Like everybody's like, war at some point. But today I saw that Domino's Pizza, talk about signs, instead of having the British were coming, they were like, it's coming, it's coming. And the horse went in the opposite direction and was wearing a Dutch uniform. I was like, oh my God, is that a sign from God? Like somebody's listening? I'm just curious. At Deutschland? Could I be so lucky? Ever? *1978, *8378, Nicole Cattaruzza.